So the whole idea of the social media as a resource for sourcing kind of shifts the paradigm because you have people approaching you, and so we discussed that was discussed at the panel, and then you have people who are just going to come to you with they're going to be approaching you for information, and then some folks you're going to be looking for. So you kind of like there's an Andy Carvin kind of on one end of the extreme,
yes.
And then you have kind of on and I think I don't want to say you're the other end of the string, but you're definitely letting people come to you, and those folks who are attracted to your content
right.
and to your issue. So
yes.
can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, totally. No, it's funny because the Carvin example didn't come up in the panel, but I really have a problem with how he does things because he's very crowdsourcey. He's very, I'll get the truth from sorting it out from a bunch of different people, and like the way I was sort of raised in journalism that's not how you do it, right? The way you do it is sort of you are very selective of your sourcing. I use like I was saying in the panel, I use Twitter and Facebook as a tool, but as a means to an end, where I eventually meet when I meet these people in person, I sort of do some homework on them, recognize that yes, they have an agenda like any other source, may have an agenda, and can suss out whether they're credible or not, But I don't think I think you're right in saying that I'm on the other end of the spectrum where like sort of blasting out who can tell me this is not the most effective way, or really, it can just lead to major screw-ups sometimes. And that's embarrassing and terrible. It's bad for your readers.
So going kind of back to what I'm doing specifically here with diversity, so how do you make sure your sources are representing multiple channels, multiple lifestyles, multiple demographics, multiple expressions of diversity, in every form, and social media being very diverse, and the way you source, your technique for sourcing things being diverse,
It's a very interesting question because right now, in particular, I cover technology, and so the tech community has been heavily criticized for its lack of representation of women and minorities as just sort of personalities or sources or people there. And it is true that it's underrepresented because it's underpopulated, right? There are very few women, or there are relatively few women in those engineering positions, in those product manager positions. Probably a greater degree of minorities, but they're still predominantly male. So, I have to talk to the people that matter to my beat, and I think that can skew heavily male, often white male, which is what it is. But at the same time, I think that's sort of a supply side problem, and like there are a lot of movements of trying to get more women in engineering positions, trying to recruit more minorities into engineering positions, gay and lesbian community. There are a lot of programs that are just sort of like, yes, you can code too, you can be a part of this too. So I think there's a progressive attitude in the tech sector in particular. Hopefully that will change over time. I think it's going to take a lot of time to sort of make it to that point.
So for upcoming journalists and communicators, what are some tips for social media sourcing? Would you either on the PR side? So our program includes PR track,
cool.
And our program includes also journalism track. So any tips for us on both sides?
Yeah, depending on your beat, just know who's on your beat, right? Obviously know your beat inside and out, and just find the personalities of the people that are inside your beat and follow them on Twitter, follow them on Facebook, but it's not just like tweeting at them, hey, can I get your opinion on this, or hey, or using one of their tweets that might be valuable. And one of my colleagues in there said, you can use a Rupert Murdoch tweet if he says something appropriate, but it's more like getting a feel for how these people are. Like a lot of journalism is about the people and about understanding people and how they operate and what they think, and that informs the newsworthy decisions that they make ultimately. So if you can sort of get inside their mindset by, following them and sort of keeping tabs on them, it's just, like I said, it's another way of knowing your beat and understanding your sources, and then ultimately, hopefully, meeting them in person. Because, again, it all comes down to meeting